All right, guys, welcome back. We're here this week at the toboggan here at D-Glow in Michigan. Glad to be back. My wrist is feeling a little bit rough, but I'm not going to be throwing a ton of shots, but I'll definitely be breaking down the course. Excited to show it to you guys. We got a couple changes I've heard, a couple different pins, a couple different tee pads, so I'm excited to attack the course. Let's do it. All right, hole one. We got 516-foot par 3 downhill. We got the mowers going, so it's a little loud, but I normally throw a forehand. My wrist has been a little messed up, so I'm gonna go with a backhand buzz. Just kind of cut it tight to these trees on the right-hand side. And there is like a little upslope by the basket. I'm trying to hit that 30 feet, 40 feet to the left. So I'm gonna throw one, see where we can land up there. That's a little low probably. I'm gonna throw one more forehand and just try to test it out, see if I can get some power on it. Not bad, should be a little short, maybe about 40 feet short. Get up there and get some putts. All right, so through the buzz, a little bit short right. That upslope kind of up there is kind of, with this being a blind hole, that's kind of, anywhere in that shaded area is kind of where I want to be. I didn't throw my best drive here. Kind of got a long spinny putt, and I'll practice this. Yeah, that's kind of a decent shot, but not obviously ideal. I threw a forehand up here. That should be a lot better. Yeah, the forehand's all the way up here, so that was a much better shot. We do have wet grass because we're early morning here. So the wet grass is gonna, that disc probably skipped from back there all the way to here and allowed me to kind of, whoops, got a little bit of a launch off the basket. But yeah, I mean, I think the ideal landing zone here on hole one is kind of hitting this upslope somewhere in this 25, 30 feet left, and then taking that uphill putt to the basket. That gives you the most highest percentage. For me, like I said, I do like to throw a forehand on this hole. It's a great forehand hole, but if I have to throw buzz, I'm ready. I'm ready for either shot. Let's go to hole two. Hole two, we got 2B placement today. It's tucked a little bit further right up the toboggan chute. You don't go all the way to the top. You go kind of 3/4 of the way and then you start veering off to the right, which means on the drive, you want to be a little bit more left-hand side. It does change the drive a little bit. You don't need as much distance, but you definitely want to be a little bit more left to open up that shot back to the right-hand side. I'm going to throw one of my Z Nukes, my new signature disc. This one's a good uphill disc for me because it's a little bit more understable. So the fact I'm throwing uphill is going to make it a little bit more stable just because it's going uphill. So the understability of the disc is going to get counterbalanced kind of by going uphill. So just kind of throw a hyzer flip with this nuke. It's a little bit low, but it's not too bad. Should be all right. That's good for the long pin. I'm going to try one more shot and try to see if I can't throw it a little bit more to the left. Normally the left-hand side is bad if you're going a long pin, but the short right pin, it opens up the gap a little bit more. There we go. That's kind of the left pin. That's pretty much what I want. A little bit more left, probably like 10 feet more left. That's kind of down the middle. But yeah, much better shot. And this hole, you definitely, on the long pin, I always like to favor that right-hand side because anything left of this kind of berm on the left-hand side is pretty much a dead zone with no run-up and no chance to get to the pin. So I always like to favor that right side. So never played this pin, so we're gonna go up there and see where we are. But glad to be back with you guys. Sorry, it's been a long back and forth trip between Europe and the wrist injury. Definitely haven't been able to play 100% health this year, but it's kind of part of being a professional athlete. You got to fight through injuries, and sometimes things don't go your way, but I'm not here to complain. Just get stronger, rehab my wrist, and you know, I'm certain that there's some great disc golf ahead for me. I just got to get healthy, and I'm excited for that journey. So thank you guys for being here, and excited to play the toboggan this week. It's gonna be fun. All right, so I threw my second drive probably only like 10 feet to the left of my first one, but makes a big difference as far as trying to access this pin. It is, like I said, 3/4 up the toboggan run, and then it goes right. I kind of want to just go over top of this bush, just past this fallen limb, and turn right. The basket's like 45 over here, so trying to throw like a jackknife Anheuser to get up there for a putt. Oh. Actually, that was pretty good. Like I pulled it a little bit early. As you saw, I clipped that limb, but that actually wasn't too bad of a shot. I'm gonna go one more and see if I can't throw another one up there towards the pin, but that line was actually good. It looked like it was early right, but that's how far right it is. So I'm gonna try one more here. That's better. Okay, that should be circle's edge or something like that, I think. So I'm just, I'm a pretty good field player, so I kind of know when I throw a good shot, and that felt pretty good. So we'll go up there and see how close I am on the first one and the second one. Second one, I took it out kind of over top of that bush up there, and then the first one, I kind of cut it tight to this fallen limb. And so yeah, two little bit different shots, and I'll be able to kind of gauge from where both of them are based on what shot I want to throw in the tournament. So my first disc that I threw was a Sagara. I threw it tight early and almost hit the limbs right in front of me, and pretty much as tight as I could possibly throw it. And I still, that shows you how severe this angle is. I still went far left, just a little bit. So this one, nice, got the 3. This hole is way harder than the other one, so it's shorter, but this pin is a lot shorter, but a lot more severe of an angle, whereas the long pin is just straight. So if you throw a 2 shot straight, you get a putt. Here it's like you got so much crap and tough angles to work with that it makes it pretty tough. But I'm gonna go try to find my other second shot, because I don't think that was anywhere near what I thought it was. All right, we got hole 3. This is the downhill par 4, 915 feet. And as I said, downhill, so you gotta make sure to control your height. I always like to throw, whenever I'm throwing downhill like this, I like to throw nice and low. If I feel like I'm throwing flat, it's just gonna be so high, have a chance to go right or left super far either direction. So I like to throw it down low so that way it has time and can hit the ground quicker. If you throw it flat like this, like a normal height, it's gonna wanna, like I said, veer off either way. So I'm throwing down, that way I have a less chance to go out of bounds. So nice and low. The height's the most important thing on this hole, I'd say, for me. So that's a little bit low. It's safe, but I threw it a little bit too low, so I'm gonna try one more. And we have a little bit of a headwind as well, so stable up a touch and throw it a little bit higher. Still wanna throw it low, but not that low. There we go, that's kind of what I want right there. Nice and low to where it's gonna go straight and then run right into the ground and stop, because it's not about distance. If I were to throw that thing any higher, it would have had time to kind of hyzer off left and go OB. So, pro tip of the day, throw downhill, throw down, hit the ground quicker, don't go out of bounds. All right, so through my onyx here, right in the middle of the fairway, I could definitely throw it further and get a little bit shorter upshot, but I like this hole just landing safe, because it can get a little tricky if you don't hit the right shot, and if you're out of bounds, you have no chance for birdie. So I always like to be safe a little further back with a guaranteed chance for birdie. So now it's kind of a routine forehand out to the left side. Something like that, out to the left, and it should skip back towards the basket. That thing didn't skip as much as I thought, so we're left at about 30 feet. But we'll go up there and putt. I think that that shot I was kind of expecting a skip, because we do have wet grass. So that's always something I factor in. If I play a morning round versus afternoon round out here, you know, you're gonna have different ground reactions based on if the grass is wet or if it's dry. You're gonna get a lot of Velcro skips, what we call it, where you just throw a shot and it just sticks right where it lands, because, you know, paying attention to the ground play is super important. That can be the difference between, you know, landing inside the circle and landing at 30, 40 feet. So your percentages are a lot different. So it's something that's very important to pay attention to. My Venom that I threw a little bit left with the forehand, thinking it was gonna skip, but didn't quite get the skip, which happens sometimes, but we still can hit the putt. Twice here's luck. I guess it was luck the first time. But yeah, open green. I mean, like you said, this hole is definitely the type of hole you want to land safe. Throw it up here and give yourself just that birdie look, because out here on the Pro Tour, a hole like this, wide open, a par on this hole feels like a bogey. You want to birdie it, keep yourself in contention to have a chance to win, and that's what we play for. So, all right, we got hole 4. This is a 580 par 4, a little bit shorter for Pro Tour standards. And I'm gonna go up wide right. Over top, there's this kind of evergreen tree in the middle of the fairway. You wanna definitely fly over top of that, and then there's a kind of a cluster of trees just behind that. I'm actually trying to crash my disc into that tree, into those trees, and literally drop. That's my play. Normally you're not throwing into trees on the Pro Tour, but this hole, I am, just because that sets you up for the great angle into the green. So I'm just thinking over top of that evergreen tree, crash into the trees. Even if I hyzer a little bit left of them, that's fine too. Okay, so that's a little bit turned over to the right. Okay, that's actually a good sign. My wrist is activating, so I turned that one over. So it's actually kind of a good thing. So I'm gonna throw one more because my wrist, I've had a lot of like early left releases because when I go to throw, my wrist just doesn't really activate and it just kind of falls out early left. Whereas that one, my wrist kind of activated and snapped it, which wasn't good for the shot, but it's just a good sign for me that I know my discs are popping out of my hand. So that's kind of better. Over top of that green evergreen, and it's gonna crash into that tree behind it. Yep, just like that. So that's kind of the play that I'm going for. And that should set me up for up and down with the zone from there. You know, a lot of my forehands have been falling out early. Putts have been falling out early just because of this wrist thing. So I'm rehabbing it, starting to feel a little bit better. And so I'm so excited for the strength to come back and for me to be able to snap my shots and throw the shots I know I'm capable of. So I'm excited for that. Stay tuned. The best version of myself in 2025 is still to be seen, and it's going to be a good thing when we're back. All right, so threw my TI force off the tee. Now I'm left with kind of a little scraggly limbed upshot, but it's not so bad. I just want to I'm thinking of getting above those boards on the top shelf, and that should skip me a skip up towards the bucket. That might be a little hot. Okay, so that's down the hill a little bit, but I'm gonna throw one more here. That zone, I'm gonna throw a little bit slower disc like a focus. There we go, that's much better. So it hit the hill and stopped, whereas the first one kind of sailed the hill and went down the backside of that slope, so it makes it, you know, that first one's 20 footer, the second one's 50 feet down the hill. So just a little bit of intricacy with this green and the slope right behind it. So yeah, it's good to know and good to practice now and get that speed control dialed. My second one's right here, a little bit of a blocked out putt, but nothing crazy. So yeah. Really the biggest thing on this hole, like I said, is get over that wooden structure right there, hit these wood chips and slide up. That's the ideal play. If you air it too far like my first one, it'll go way past. The down slope will get you and you'll be at like 50 feet. So really got to hit the hill on the upshot short, slide up. That's the play. All right, we got hole 5, 480 foot downhill par 3. I like to kind of favor this right-hand side. There's kind of a wooden log that runs down the right-hand side. I almost like to throw kind of an ante that kind of runs towards that area. Obviously, if I hyzer a little bit, I'm going to be inside the circle, but if I turn it over, there's a lot more room for air over on that right-hand side. So I'm going to throw Athena. A little bit early left, so that's not actually what I'm going for, but I'll try one more, try a buzz, and try to turn it a little bit more than that first one. So a little tricky, hit the left side tree, but we'll scramble from the first one. Overhand, you never know when you're gonna need it, you know? All right, we can make a par putt. But yeah, I just threw a little bit early on this Athena on this left-hand side, which is, it can happen. But the log that I was trying to hit, like I was talking to you guys about from the tee pad, is over here. So I always try to throw kind of an ante into this log, and a lot of times it likes to feed over back towards the basket. And even if it hits it and stops, there's still 20 footer. So definitely, yeah, something I like to keep in mind on this hole, because I definitely don't want to go straight at the pin and go pin seeking, because sometimes you can get a kind of a skip and go long, and actually bring in that OB, OB on the long side. There we go. Get the circle twos dialed a little bit. All right, we got hole 6. This is a 519 par 4 dogleg to the right, and you have a tight gap with kind of a slanted tree. That's kind of the aiming point that you want to go inside right of that. I like to throw like a flippy zone, flippy buzz, something like that, and just keep it dragging right. So you want to hit the gap and then just throw a nice smooth ante through the gap and hold it right, and that kind of leaves you into a forehand approach into the kind of sloping green. So really fun hole. Let's throw a good shot in the placement zone. See this leaning tree here on this drive, and I just want to throw a shot that just bends just right of that and holds a turn the whole way. So that's what I'm going for. Just like that's perfect. A little bit short. I'm going to try one more, get a little more power on it, but that's the exact line I want. That was a really good line. Yep. That's perfect. So kind of the first one's all right, second one's even better. So we're gonna go up there, kind of show you where these are landing. All right, through my TI zone, one of my favorite zones, my favorite plastics to throw. Threw that in the middle of the fairway. I'm gonna throw, I just went to the Discraft factory here in Michigan, so picked up that goodie. It's a new Captain Raptor, so I'm gonna flex this puppy right by the basket. A little wide, but don't hit that tree. All right, good. Sweet. Should be about 25. Pulled it a little bit left. I want to just be just 5 feet inside that tree that I clipped, and that should skip me to the basket. But I do like favoring that left-hand side because it does downslope right side, so you don't want to be right of the basket. Otherwise, you'll be way down the hill, 50, 60 feet right. All right, here's the new Raptor. Parked it. Now we're just tapping in for bird. But yeah, as you can see, this downslope is very sloping away from the basket. So you definitely want to be on that left-hand side. That's the side to favor in the sweet spot. So got the birdie, hole 6. All right, so we got hole 7, 667 foot par 4 uphill, dog legs left after about 400 to 450. And we have an upslope. I like to utilize that upslope. I almost like to hit just on top of it, so that way if I skip, I'm on the top shelf. And if I stick into the upslope, I still don't have to deal with too bad of a run up. But I definitely don't want to hyzer off left or right, because if I do, the OB is super tight this year. So if you start hyzering and skipping left, you have a good chance to go OB. I'm gonna throw an Athena, slow speed, try to keep it in the middle. Okay, so that's a little left. It's gonna hit the hill though and be safe. So that's safe. I threw it too low. I'm gonna throw the Onyx here on this next shot. Throw this one a little bit higher. It's a little bit faster than the Athena as well. Oh, that was a little bit early release. I gotta throw a rebuttal shot to get some confidence here. But yeah, those first two just early release. That's kind of been happening with my wrist a little bit. So I'm gonna try to throw a little bit better this time. There we go. Much better. That's still going a little bit further left than I want, but we'll see. So that should be close to OB. We're gonna find out. But as you can see, it's easy to kind of find that left side OB if you start skipping towards that left side. So yeah, good, well-designed hole. You gotta hit the fairway to give yourself that birdie look. If you start hyzering left or right, you're gonna be OB with a tough lie and a tough up and down. So really like the design of this hole. All right, so my first Athena hit this hill, stopped. I didn't quite make it on the top shelf, which is what I'm going for, but I still have a chance at up and down. So sometimes all you need is just a chance. Give yourself that birdie look. So now I'm gonna throw my Cigarra. This is a disc I've been throwing a bunch in the woods and tight tunnel shots. Forehand Cigarra, just try to hit it about 25, 30 feet short of the pin. That was pretty genius. Looked pretty much perfect there. So I threw my second one. It hit about 25, 30 feet inbounds on that right-hand side, and I threw it with too much hyzer, and it just, everything trickles back to this left side. So too much hyzer angle, it's gonna wanna skip across this line. So you definitely wanna hit flat on the fairway up here, so that way you land flat and don't skip towards this OB. All right, first shot, the Athena off the tee, and then the Cigarra, and then bag on, tap in putt with the Onyx. So, but yeah, this Cigarra has been freaking, I got this in Sweden when I went to the Ollie Open. It's been flying awesome for those kind of turnovers in the woods, hyzer flip, straight shots in the woods. Been loving it. Also got a new Onyx from the factory. Life's good here in Michigan. All right, we got hole 8. This is a 500-foot par 4 through the kind of field goal, low ceiling. We do have OB right side. So the tricky part about this hole is there's a tree that pushes you right, but you really want to be over to this left-hand side. So it's hard to get far enough left to give you that good open shot into the green coming in left to right. So I'm gonna throw this new Onyx. Got the new little Wysocki stamp there, the Raptor. Really like that. The stampers hooked me up on that. But yeah, I throw kind of a hyzer through the gap. I wanna just hyzer left of the stakes that you can see. If I go left of those stakes, that takes me into the inbounds area, and that's really all I'm looking for. Just like that, it's solid. And that should be pretty easy. Some high percentage from there. It's not gonna mean an automatic birdie. I'm gonna throw another Onyx. This one's got my Pokemon stamp on there. It's kind of cool, yeah. So same shot as that first one. Once again, it's tough to get far enough. I wanna be more left, but I also don't wanna risk hitting this tree and dropping out of bounds, because the out of bounds is right by that tree, and if you hit it and drop, you are OB. So don't wanna butt off too much, just throw that high percentage shot. Try to show you the second shot around the corner on into that green. Once again, there's this tree kind of in my way, so I would like to be more left, but at the same time, I don't want to risk hitting that tree that's right there off the tee. So I always like to give myself a chance. Makes it a little bit harder of an upshot, but I like a good challenge. So I'm gonna try to throw it kind of a left to right buzz shot. Gotta throw it high, which is challenging to keep it nose down and turning to the right, because when you throw high, a lot of times it wants to hyzer out. So you gotta throw flippy enough and with enough angle to kind of counter the fact you're throwing so far and fighting gravity. That seems good. It might be a little bit wide, so I might cut roll. So I'll probably cut roll. I'm gonna throw one more. That one wasn't bad. I just threw it. I just need to throw it actually even higher, which sounds weird, but if I throw it higher, it has more time to pan. The lower you throw it like that, it's gonna cut roll out. So I threw the right angle, I just didn't throw it high enough to give it time to glide and pan to the right. That one's still too wide. So it's not horrible, but still left at about 50 feet. So this hole, as you can see, if you don't throw the perfect drive, it's tough to access that pin and really park this hole, but got a couple 50-footers, so I'll try to make a putt. All right, so here's both of my shots, kind of went too straight. Threw them nice and high, I just didn't throw flippy enough, I guess. So you gotta throw pretty flippy, which I don't really have a flippy enough mid-range right now to really throw the perfect shot on this one, whoops. But there we go. 1 for 2 from 50, 60 feet. So yeah, loving the buzz. Try to throw it a little bit closer. These limbs do come into play because even if you turn it like you're supposed to, you can hit those and drop. So this is a really protected pin when you're throwing that high ante, which is the play. Tough to access this pin and really park it. You don't see too many people throw this second shot inside 20 feet. Normally it's circle's edge birdie look. So got to know that and be happy with a 35, 40 footer on this hole. Try to make some birdies from long range. All right, we got hole 9. This is a 472 foot downhill par 3. We got a little bit of a backstop if you throw your disc low enough. Once again, we got this downhill shot. So height of your disc is super important. And I am gonna make sure to keep low. And you can also do that in your swing as well. Keep nice and low as opposed to standing tall. Your disc's gonna be up here versus if I get down, it's gonna be like a couple feet lower. So staying low to the ground, keeping that disc low so that way I can hit that hill right in front of the basket. Once again, 20 to 25 short into that hill. That's gonna give me the best chance at birdie. I don't wanna be flying that hill if I have the choice because that's gonna air way past the basket. That's perfect. Pretty much as perfect as it goes. Right in front, 20 feet away, skip right to it. Gonna need to throw another one. Athena goes right to the basket here, hole 9. All right, through my Athena, this is probably the best shot I've ever thrown on this hole. So got the birdie. It's a good disc for this hole, fits it well. All right guys, thank you for watching the front 9 out here at the toboggan. Let's head over to the back 9, finish this off.